But before we get on to Paris-Nice, I just want to mention our show partner, Lecol, www.lecol. I want to mention, you might have seen this on their Instagram if you follow them on IG, that they've got a Lecol Project 200-200 Strava challenge. So if you join their Strava club, complete 200 minutes of activity, you earn a £50 reward and convert it into your currency. So that's probably a lot of AUD. Haven't looked at the exchange rate recently. Plus, you get entry into a raffle for one of the Drops the Cold team bikes. One of the Ribble Cycles Drops the Cold team bikes. So I think if you complete 200 Ks rather, after joining that rewards for riding program, that also increases your chance of winning that bike. So you can see all that info on the Lecol website or through the link on their Instagram. But on to Paris-Nice now, Benji. Stage 5 from Vienne to Bolin, a transition stage, 200.2 Ks. What were the things of note during the stage? Because not even anyone wanted to get in a breakaway. It was that windy.
Yeah, at the start it was a very, very slow tempo because they started off in a clear headwind. Towards the end of the stage, it started to speed up because the wind was coming from their behind. And yeah, I think that the only thing notable was a Belgian revolution halfway the stage. Come on, man. That's the most important thing that happened in cycling since the 20th stage of the Tour last year. We had a breakaway with 10, 11 Belgians at a certain point. It only lasted like 2 minutes, but Kampenaert, Stuyven, Turn, Gilbert, De Gent, De Klerk, Lampaard, De Wolfs, Naesen, De Bond, Vervaken. Crazy times, genuinely. We're living in a meme. But they didn't survive long, so that's sad.
Oh, yeah, there was the Tony Martin crash midway through the stage. I'm not sure what caused it. He then abandoned. Primoz Roglic went down as well, got back up and on his bike. Just a weird stage. 31 Ks an hour average for the first hour or so on a flat stage like this. Just rough. They didn't get lucky with the wind direction today, the race organisers. But yeah, I tuned in, Benji, and I saw Quickstep lined up, and I was like, this is done. Pretty much. Because they, after missing out on, what was it, stage 2? Yeah, missing out on stage 2, and Merku and Bennett were too deep on the corner. They were out for blood today. But yeah, why don't you run us through the final inevitable sprint?
So I think everybody that watched Paris tuned into Tirreno with about 800 meters to go. We've been watching it with one eye for quite a bit beforehand. But the last sprint, I think the real important moment started with a good 1.3 kilometers to go. We had the Koenig train on the left side of the road. We had Bennett in the wheel first. And once they moved up, he started getting a bit of trouble with other people. And we noticed that there were riders left and right of their train that were trying to take the position of Bennett on the back of his train. And he kind of let that happen at a certain point. He used his shoulder at a certain point to try and push the right rider to the side, and then actually lost that wheel. I think in the progress of doing that shoulder, the dude on the left got in the way and actually got the position that Bennett had on his train. So Bennett was unhappy about that and decided to furiously sprint headwind on the left side of the road against the wind, past everybody into his train again.
Yeah, he full on sprinting that late. I was like, wow, he must have really, really good legs to move up in that sense and not try and move up in the bunch to go around everybody. But I guess he was allowed to slot back onto Merku's wheel with 900 meters to go.
I don't think you often have it this season already that you've got one team that can control the sprint from start to finish, and the Koenig really did that here. And once Merku hit the front, Bennett in his wheel, you know that it's going to be really difficult for any other sprinter to come around. Bauhaus was, I think, in fourth or fifth wheel. We had Buhani just behind Bennett's wheel and another Arkea rider just on the right of Buhani. So at a certain point, you had two De Koenigs and then two Arkeas at the front. And Merku went off the front. Bennett smashed forward. We saw that Merku going out of front meant that the riders behind Merku had a rough time getting around him. I think that Bauhaus was the rider most affected by that, had to stop sprinting for a bit and then go around Merku to move and actually make a sprint happen again. Buhani tried to keep himself in the wheel of Bennett, tried to come around for a tiny bit, but it really never happened. Bennett took the victory here, and it was basically,
textbook stuff. I know, right? It's like we saw the UAE do the same shit over and over again. It was the one where Merku did the proper lead out on the right hand side, dropped Bennett off. I'm getting attacked by mosquitoes. I'm not having a good time. Dropped Bennett off with 150 to go and opened up on the right-hand side. And already you saw Mercu behind putting the hands up to celebrate the Bennett win. And this is the thing about how much better Bennett is than all these other sprinters. He had to sprint with like 1,200 meters to go. Usually that would completely take any other of the sprinters here out. They wouldn't finish in the
Yeah.
top 10. Secondly, he didn't actually get dropped off that late. And I think maybe they had a tailwind actually in the finish
Yep.
because they were on like 65 before in like the last 10Ks for this race. But he still didn't get dropped off that late, and he had Buani right in his wheel and other riders in his wheel, and when he kicked, they're like struggling to hold his wheel. And I think Ewan's the only one in the world that can beat him from that point, and he needs everything to go his way. And even then, it's 50-50. So dominant from Bennett today, just like he drew up. I got to make the highlight video again of Bennett winning. I'm not sure I have too much insightful to say. Just keeps happening. It's like my fifth one I've had to make this month. Tirreno would have been slightly more of a complex video. Top 10 was Bennett first, Buani second, Ackermann third, his best result for a while, Bauhaus fourth, Nizzolo fifth, Christoph sixth, Coquard seventh, Laporte eighth, Barbier ninth. It seems that they're sprinting for Barbier now, Israel Startup Nation, and Danny Van Poppel for Intermarché 10th. Yes, but two things I want to mention. Actually, more than two things, Benji. Mads Pedersen 12th, even though Trek were up there with 2Ks to go. I don't know what happened. Arno Demar 13th. What's going on?
DeMar basically went backwards, and I can't really add too much on that aspect, but I can add that the moment that Bennett started moving up and had that trouble with a good 1.2 kilometers to go, that made it so that the rider that was, I think, well, actually, no, because Bennett had to like break a tiny bit, get loose of his train, and then sprint around. The moment that Bennett got loose of his train and kind of was two riders behind his own train, Pedersen was behind Bennett. So that caused Pedersen to be like 2 positions further as well. And Pedersen basically lost 5 positions because Bennett moved back at that point to try and sprint around. Pedersen didn't follow Bennett sprinting around because it looked outrageous. It was like, oh my god, he's doing a sprint already. It's 1 kilometer to go. But it was clearly to get back on his terrain.
Think of the
And he was sprinting already. Anyway,
it's too easy otherwise. It's too easy. If he's just in the train, it's not even. He's probably losing fitness. He's got to get. You got to do 2 sprints. He's got to do intervals. Bennett right now in preparation for the tour. I can't wait to back Case Bowl in every sprint if he goes to the Tour de France because people will look at his results and be like, is this guy even a sprinter? He never comes to 10, and he's got these random wins. He's got like 1 win, but like when he gets it right, he can win, and he's actually quick enough to win. He just is like, if I can't win, I'm not even contesting the sprint. He came 5 seconds back. It wasn't even in the same time, coming 24th. Like, what is it with DSM and Case Bowl? Because there's no reason this finish shouldn't suit him.
I think that it's not only his results that are inconsistent, but also the way their train works. They don't often get him to the front enough, and they always trust on their train fully to bring Case Bowl to the front. And I think that's a real issue because the moment that your train starts failing, you need to be flexible and you need to try and figure out what to do about it. And Case Bowl was not in a good position because of the train and didn't really attempt to move forward too much more afterwards because it's the same thing as the first stage, to be honest. I think in the first stage he was 30th or 32nd. So pretty similar scenario. I kind of think it's a train.
No certain Kra Anderson, I think he's not there. He had a bad back or something. So that's not really an excuse, to be honest. Like if Christoph's got no lead out just about, maybe he's got Rui Oliveira, like I still think Case Bowl should be able to follow his own wheels like Coquard and Laporte. Like he shouldn't be getting beaten by Laporte in all these sprints except the one he won. Like it's just strange to me. But on his day, that's why I can't wait to back him because I think he'll be undervalued in some races later. Not financial advice, Benji makes me say every time. But anyway, stage 6 tomorrow should be a bit more interesting from Brignoles to Biot. 202.4 kilometers, medium mountain stage. got a. I mean, the categorizations are a whack. Let's be honest. It's like a 3.2k climb at 6%. There's a cat 2. Like, come on, and a 1.5. Yeah. So anyway, it's pretty rolly though. Proper medium mountain stage, up and down all day. Côte de Cabri is one of the big climbs, 8Ks at 5.5%, 100Ks in. That then has a short plateau. Then they kick up again to the Col de Ferrier. So that's really actually 12Ks of consistent climbing to the top, maybe even more. That's 4.5Ks at 6.7%. Descent, 2 more short climbs, 3Ks at 5, 4Ks at 4. Long descent for about 30 or 25 kilometers to Roquefort-le-Pin, where I think Benji's got a holiday home that he shares with Leo DiCaprio. Then a rolly finish for 18 kilometers, and then an uphill, uphill finish to Biot, which is quite a nice area. I'm led to believe. I'm trying to look at the finish climb, Benji. It's like 2Ks of climbing. The first 500 to 700 meters is not so steep. Actually, I know because ASO sent the profile. It's like 5% for the first K and then 5.5% average for the last K of this finish. Too hard for Matthews? I picked Matthews in the preview. Do you think he can do it the way he's climbing?
No, I definitely think he can do it. It seems to be a relatively perfect finish for him. The problem is that I don't know how they'll do it because after the climb, well, let's say Hamilton and him are the only people left. Hamilton will never pace for Matthews. We saw it yesterday.
Lead him out,
So
Lucas.
yes, come on, Lucas, you can do it. Anyway, like next to him, perhaps a Shockman, a Grossschartner, stuff like that. That Roglic himself, to be honest, at certain points could also do it. But might it not be a breakaway there with like a pure half stage descent towards the finish line, pretty much, with like 2 bumps in the road?
Marc Soler's not here though. That's the problem. And the people that I would say for that would be like Jonas Aguirre, but he's 40
Almost
seconds
the
back.
end is my
GC,
pick
where's
for tomorrow.
surely he's lost a lot of time. Let me look him up. 14
What's the
minutes.
minute 22 today? Yeah.
Fraile, 13 minutes back. Hausler, nah, I'm just messing. I just had to mention him
To
for
be
the name.
honest.
Oh, don't say.
He's gonna win Roubaix. I told you so.
Okay. Remy Cavagna, 7 minutes 30 back. Lutsenko, 6 minutes 26 back. Lutsenko's not a bad shout. Jungels is in this weird spot, right? Like, he's 2 minutes 40 back. He's got no chance on GC, Bob Jungels. So the only thing he can get out of this race anymore is breakaway win in a stage, because I don't think he's strong enough. He's not strong. He hasn't showed he's strong enough in a finish like this at the moment. So what's the point in being 2 minutes 40 back? No one has the answer.
Yep,
Benji doesn't have it because there is no answer. It doesn't make sense. Greipel might be riding for GC, but I don't know whether they'll let him get in a break. Depends. But I like Matthews for tomorrow. I think he's climbing differently to previous times in his career. He told us last year he's lost like 5 to 6 kilos. That Cherubla climb was hard, Benji. Like Bennett, when I went back and watched the finish, like Bennett and Kreuzweig were pacing hard on those steep sections, and Matthews' surge towards the intermediate sprint, he kicked so hard, and yeah, it ended up dropping himself. Like I don't know what he was thinking. It made no sense. But the point is, he was able to do that at the end of about 4 to 5 Ks of hard climbing. The problem is tomorrow is a lot of sustained climbing, so it looks like a hard Catalunya stage. That's sort of the ones he's won previously. So he needs. The problem is, okay, we're talking about a breakaway, Benji. Sharkman, Tish Benoit. Do they try something on one of those at the top of the Côte de Gordon and the or the Cipière? Is that
Yeah, I
where?
think so.
Yeah, they have to.
I think they have to. I think those are the 2 people that I do expect doing something on the stage. This kind of reminds me of the Tour de Rome in these stages that Albacini dominated in the past. Like having a climb in the middle of the stage and a small hill at the end. Every single time he'd win, like 3 stages in a row sometimes. And I think this really reminds me of that.
But anyway, I think tomorrow's stage could be the most interesting of Paris-Nice so far tactically. I really hope the other GC contenders try something. I'll be disappointed if they accept fighting for podium positions on Colmian on, what is it, Friday now? my time zone's whacked on the weekend. I'll just say on the weekend. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this podcast and the Paris-Nice wrap up. Some pretty exciting racing today and some good racing coming up on the weekend. If you want to support the podcast, you can obviously check out our show partner, Lacole, through the link below. You can like the YouTube videos. People don't really like the YouTube videos, Benji. I know they like them, and we put so much more effort into. I'm not whinging, but we do put a lot more effort into the YouTube videos.
He's complaining again, guys.
Last year we used to just get the audio file, slap a background on, and upload it. Now it's actually got to edit it kind of like a normal video that I'd make or you'd make. So yeah, if you like those, then yeah, comment on them or like them, I guess, or leave us a review on Chartable. We want to hit 1,000 reviews on Apple Podcasts, I think it is, or all podcast platforms that have reviews before Criterium de Dauphiné is an arbitrary date I just set. So yeah, 1,000 reviews before then, even if it's, they got to be 5 stars though. If they're not 5 stars, then just pretend your phone doesn't work. But that's it for us today. We'll see you tomorrow. Ciao.